The rain fell in a steady drizzle over the quiet city, creating puddles that reflected the neon signs of downtown. Detective Arjun Malik sat in his office, staring at the latest case file with furrowed brows. The case was unlike anything he had seen before. A series of seemingly impossible crimes had been committed over the last month, each executed with surgical precision, leaving no trace behind. And all the clues pointed to a single mind, a genius, someone far ahead of the law. The first crime had been at the city's Central Museum. A rare diamond, the Star of Orion, had vanished from its secured display without triggering a single alarm. Surveillance footage showed nothing, and the security system reported zero disturbances. It was as if the diamond had vanished into thin air. Experts were baffled, and the public was terrified. Arjun had been called in because of his reputation for catching high-level criminals, but even he was stumped as he flipped through the file. A pattern began to emerge. The next theft had occurred at a tech firm. An experimental AI prototype had disappeared. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no digital trail. And then, 3 days later, a high-profile robbery at a bank, again with no clear explanation. Whoever was behind these crimes wasn't just smart. They were meticulous, calculating, and utterly fearless. Arjun rubbed his temples. This isn't just theft. This is a message, he muttered to himself. He knew that catching someone like this would require thinking like them. He needed insight into a mind capable of planning months ahead, someone who could anticipate every move of the police before it even happened. He started by revisiting the museum case. There had to be a clue, something small that everyone had missed. He examined the floor plan, the camera angles, the staff schedules, everything. That's when he noticed it, a tiny smudge on the corner of the display case. It was faint, almost invisible, but it wasn't just dust. Using a magnifying lens, Arjun detected the residue of a rare synthetic polymer, something used in cutting-edge robotics and high-tech gadgets. This was the breakthrough he needed. The thief wasn't a common criminal. They were someone with technical expertise, likely with access to advanced labs or private tech resources. The same type of residue was found at the bank and the tech firm. The pattern was clear. Each target involved high-value items that required knowledge to obtain without leaving evidence. Arjun decided to bring in Dr. Meera Shah, a renowned behavioral analyst. She had a reputation for profiling the most difficult cases. Together, they began mapping the thief's psychological profile. This isn't about money, Meera explained as they sat over coffee late at night. This is about ego, about proving they can outsmart the entire system. Whoever this is, they're a perfectionist. They plan every detail obsessively, and they enjoy watching the chaos they create. Arjun nodded. So, they're not going to stop until we corner them. And the more we chase, the more predictable they become, in a sense. Their first step was to anticipate the next move. Meera suggested they look at patterns not just in the crimes themselves, but in the selection of targets. Museum, tech firm, bank, all high security, high value, and publicly visible. The thief wanted attention, but the kind of attention that proved intellectual superiority. Think like a chess player, Meera said. They're always 2 steps ahead. We need to place ourselves 3 steps ahead. Days turned into nights as Arjun and Meera worked tirelessly. They monitored surveillance systems, analyzed data, and interviewed employees connected to the previous crimes. Each lead brought a small piece of the puzzle, and slowly, a profile emerged. The thief was likely a young prodigy, someone in their 20s, possibly late teens, who had access to technology beyond the public eye. Someone brilliant, but socially detached, someone who saw rules as obstacles rather than boundaries. Then came the breakthrough. A tip from an anonymous source led them to a secluded warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Inside, they found evidence of a high-tech setup, blueprints, robotic tools, and prototypes of devices that could bypass almost any security system. There was no sign of the thief, but the precision of the setup confirmed everything they had theorized. This was the lair of a genius, and it was only a matter of time before the next strike. The team set up surveillance, waiting for the next move. They didn't have to wait long. The thief targeted the city's largest technology expo, planning to steal an advanced quantum computing chip that could change the face of AI forever. Security was tight, But Arjun and Mira were ready. On the night of the expo, the thief made their move. Cameras flickered, lights went out, and in the chaos, the thief disappeared with the chip. But what they didn't know was that Arjun had predicted the exact method: a decoy exit in an underground tunnel. As the thief emerged on the other side, the police were waiting. The confrontation was tense. The thief was young, sharp, and almost smug, as if this capture was an expected outcome. But Arjun and Mira were prepared. They had studied every possible escape route, every contingency. In a calculated move, they cornered the thief and brought them down without a struggle. In the aftermath, the thief's identity was revealed: Arya Kapoor, a 22-year-old tech prodigy who had been creating devices since she was 12. She had outsmarted the police for months, not for money, but for the thrill of proving her brilliance. Her genius was undeniable, but her methods were illegal and dangerous. During questioning, Arya was composed, almost calm. "You don't understand," she said, her eyes gleaming. "It's not about stealing. It's about proving that intelligence can't be constrained. Rules are made to be outsmarted." Arjun leaned back. "Intelligence without responsibility is just chaos," he replied. "And sometimes that chaos can hurt a lot of people." Arya's mind fiendly. Maybe, but it's beautiful chaos. Despite the tension, Arjun saw something in her. The same spark of genius that had driven her to commit these crimes could be channeled into something constructive. He worked with Mira and other authorities to arrange for Arya to work in a controlled environment, contributing her talent to national security projects instead of crime. It wasn't perfect justice, but it was a start. The case made headlines worldwide. Arjun Malik and his team were praised for catching the criminal mind that had eluded authorities for months. But for Arjun, the victory was personal. He had faced a mind that challenged him in ways no other criminal had, and he had come out stronger. Months later, Arjun visited the museum where the Star of Orion now sparkled in its display, under new security measures. He couldn't help but think of Arya and the potential of minds that could be used for creation rather than destruction. Genius was a gift, but it came with responsibility. As he walked away, rain once again began to fall over the city. It was a reminder that the world was unpredictable, and brilliance could manifest in the most unexpected ways. But he also knew this: with patience, strategy, and understanding, even the most elusive mind could be caught. The city was safe once again, but Arjun understood that geniuses like Arya weren't truly dangerous because they wanted to be. They were dangerous because the world wasn't ready for them. And sometimes, the greatest crime wasn't theft or deceit. It was underestimating the power of an extraordinary mind. In the quiet of his office that night, Arjun smiled to himself. The game of intellect was far from over. Somewhere out there, another mind was waiting, plotting, imagining, and he would be ready. After all, to catch a genius, one had to think like a genius, and that was the greatest challenge of all.